Hey guys. Overview video. Distance learning. Coming right at you. The introduction. Let's do this. To start explaining the things that you want to know, you want to hear, because you want to finish this course, you want to learn what you need to know, and most importantly, I think you want to get back to being with one another and spending time with one another, learning things from each other, and just being in each other's lives makes your experience here on Earth a lot better. So that's going to be a big focus over the next few weeks, and I hope to take you through a lot of this information to show how I hope to make all those things possible for you. Now that we're back to distance learning, now through the end of the school year. Okay, so what you're looking at here in my welcome back slide is that I have the original chapters that I was on back before school closed for Algebra 1 and Geometry. And the reason why I decided to put this on the introduction slide is because as far as the academics go, as far as what you're doing, I want things to change as little as possible for you. One thing nice that you're going to hear is, as of now, there aren't really any tests, major tests that I'm going to have. The goal is just to work on problems, keep improving your skills, and get through and to have a nice cohesive experience in your Algebra 1 class or in your Geometry class. So I'm just showing you that I'm doing that for both Algebra 1 and I'm doing that for Geometry. I'm trying to make your lessons feel relatively similar in both topics. So in Geometry, I would have a lecture each day and have lecture slides that you would open before the beginning of class. You're going to still do that in Geometry. You have a lecture slides, and I'm still going to give you a lecture. We have a video lecture for each day, followed by homework. And we're going to use these Zoom sessions that we have on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to review that homework. In Algebra, it will appear relatively similar. Usually you're doing group tasks together. You're still going to have the group tasks, but unfortunately it's hard to coordinate with your groups every single day. So you're only really going to do those group tasks once a week with your group, and you're going to turn that assignment in. You will have 3 assignments for the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for those 3 assignments. But probably a few of those you'll have to do independently. But there are still instructional videos. In fact, there are videos for each and every lesson. I kind of do the whole thing on YouTube so that you can go to YouTube and pick and choose. What is it do you want to hear me explain? Do you want to go through the whole thing? It's there because usually I review a lot of the questions in class. I wanted to have that on YouTube. Okay, so let's jump into it. Algebra students, what I'm going to want you to do now is I'm going to fill out the study group survey. You just got to get this done actually before Tuesday at 5 p.m. So let me go to one of these forms and click on this one. What I want you to do is to this point of the year, and at this point in distance learning, I'm going to let you guys set up your own groups. That's right. You're going to work with the groups of your choice for the rest of the year, and you just need to tell me who you want to work with, and I'll try to, as best as possible, to make most of it happen. So select up to 4 people you want to be in a group with. Groups will be between 2 to 5 people. So say if you just hit up your friend right now and say, do you just want to do a 2-person group, and you guys both agree, you'll be a 2-person group, okay? So I have all the names listed here. Let's say you want to be in a group with Thomas, Garrick, and Crystal. Just check the 3 of those, and I'll hope to get at least 1 or 2 of those folks into your group. If it doesn't matter to you at all, feel free to just check the top option. I don't care which people in my group, and I'll either put you together with other people who don't care, or I'll put you in another group that seems like a nice group and get you going for the rest of the year. Okay, that's about all I need to know. Oh, also too, roles. You need to tell me what role you prefer to do in your study group. Eventually, when your study groups get set up, you're going to decide who's going to do what role, but I want you to think about all the roles that are here and maybe tell me what you're comfortable with. Are you a facilitator, are you a task manager, resource manager, reporter? Don't want to touch on too many of these, except probably, in my opinion, the most important role that you have here is the resource manager. For the resource manager, you're still going to be reading the assignments when you get together to do assignments together, okay? So study groups, you get together once a week at least to do one lesson, one classwork lesson together. So resource managers, when you do that lesson together, you have the lesson video open. And I'll show you the lesson video in a little bit, but every single lesson has a video of me explaining how to do every single problem. So you can watch it at detail and fast forward and rewind as needed to figure out what to do. So if the resource manager has that open and you notice your team's getting kind of stuck on a problem, maybe you're watching that video and you're helping to tell the rest of the group, hey, Mr. Fortin explains to do it this way, or we should all watch this part of the video. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. That's kind of a new thing in addition to the things that we've been doing in the past for these roles. And let's keep going here. So due by 5 p.m., let me know what your study group's going to be, and I'll try my best to make it happen so that starting Wednesday, you can maybe do the Wednesday lesson together as a whole group on Zoom or on Google Hangouts, and you guys are having enough technology background to figure out how you can kind of get together and do a assignment remotely. Okay, Algebra 1 distance learning requirements. 3 lessons, right? There's going to be 3 formal lessons a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I had originally set up, and I explained to the class that met with me last week that I was going to try to do 5 lessons a week because we're trying to make up for lost time, and I thought it was doable. I think there's really only reason to do 3 lessons a week. We're going to get through almost all of Chapter 9 and Chapter 10, in addition to the Chapter 8 that you're working on here. So I'm more than comfortable with you guys covering that material. I still think you're probably going to learn way more than the average 9th grader at any school, let alone our school that's been out of school for the past month or so. Okay, so 3 lessons each week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, there's a new lesson. You must meet with your study group over Zoom, Hangouts, etc. for at least one of those lessons. So when you set up your group, figure out what lesson you want to work on together and figure out a time and work on it, get it done, do it together, and follow their rules. Tuesdays and Thursdays are going to be enrichment lessons. You're still required to do those, but they might be a little bit more light. For instance, on Tuesday, my only assignment for you on Tuesday is actually just to fill out the Google form. Tell me what your group is today. So there'll be little things like that. They might be as small as, say, hey, fill out this Google form for me. Or they might be as big as I might have like an 8-question quiz on Google Forms that you can just practice taking some quiz questions and submitting it to me. We might do Desmos lessons certain days. We might do Kahoots certain Tuesday, Thursdays. So that sort of allows us more flexibility. But Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that's where we continue on with the book work and the homework as well, too. Transitioning to homework there. Number 3, there are 3 homeworks each week. These will be reviewed in the following whole class Zoom session. So today, your homework is homework number 37, I believe, and that's the homework for Monday. We're going to review those the next Zoom session. So for block 5, you're going to review that Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. when we have Zoom. We're going to watch this video first, and then we're going to review that homework immediately afterward. And we'll do that in small groups so you guys can talk with one another. Eventually, you'll review homework with your small groups, with your study group, so that you'll be working with the same people and have some understanding of the workflows for each person in the group. And I think that'll work better. Finally, number 4 here, it says number 3, but I meant number 4, work collection. Your 3 homeworks and 1 classwork is what I'm going to collect in a week. Okay, so I know that there are 3 classworks, 3 lessons. Do all of them. I might collect more than 1 eventually, but for now, I'm only going to collect 1 of those 3 lesson classworks every single week. And that 1 classwork is the one you're doing with your study group, okay? So everybody in your study group needs to turn in their own assignment, right? The one that they did themselves. It can't be identical to everybody in the group, but it needs to be from the same day. It needs to be the same assignment that all 2, 3, 4, 5 of you are turning in to prove that at least you coordinated and you turned in the same assignment. You worked on the same assignment together, okay? So you're turning in 1 classwork, but you're also turning in the 3 homeworks. So this week we have homework number 37, 38, and 39. You're going to turn in all of those, and you got to do that by Sunday night at midnight. It must be turned in on Google Classroom. So I'll get to Google Classroom in a second because you might be wondering, where is all this stuff? Where do I find all this stuff? Well, I'm going to show that next. But right now, I'm just going to point out where we're going to get together on Zoom. So on Zoom is where we're going to be reviewing all of our homeworks. And that's how we're going to dedicate our time, and also have a chance for you guys to ask questions and get caught up on things maybe you're not understanding. So it's these Zoom meetings are a way for me to make myself available to you guys for any questions, and it's not a time for me to cover new stuff or make sure you understand everything, because that's very hard, right? We're limited. We're all in different places. I'm not going to be coming to your house, right? Especially during the social distancing. They're not going to be coming to your house and making sure really that you know everything, okay? So what you need to do is to ask questions, bring those questions to the Zoom meetings, and homework is a great way. When we come, we have something already done. That's something to review, to talk about. So you're talking with your group about the homework problems and making sure you're keeping pace with everything. Not only do these time periods, are they designed for me to free myself up for you, it's also to make sure you can work with other people too, because I think that's the big thing, is that I want to put you back with people that you've enjoyed working with so far, or you know from outside of class you haven't spent as much in-class time with, and to help build that community, to help build up some people who maybe I haven't talked to over the past several weeks that can maybe be in your lives for the next several weeks and for years beyond that too. I think we'll all think back to this time, and hopefully you think back to the people you worked with over distance learning. The last slide about kind of introduction to distance learning is Google Classroom overview. Okay, so this year, right, you might be wondering these questions. Mr. Fortin, you've talked about all these different things. Well, where can I find the schedule? What are the lessons? What are the homeworks? When am I supposed to be doing what? And also, where can I find the classwork assignments? Where can I actually find the things that I'm supposed to do at some point in time? Where do I get them so I know exactly what to do? And finally, right, the video lessons and the homework. Those things too, all very important to get access to. And that's on Google Classroom. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out Google Classroom for Algebra 1. Here is it for first block. Should just look just like fifth block here. And what you see here, starting about the third or fourth row down, is you start seeing a schedule of the dates of the lessons that we have so far. So this will get filled in a little bit more, but we have here the lessons starting Monday, April 13th, which is today. So this is what you have to do today. So you go to today. Every day, I'd say be checking this. Go to it. Open up the day's lesson, and you'll see all the information right here. Let me zoom in so that maybe we can read this a little bit more clearly. Okay, distance learning lessons and homework. It's on your classwork tab of Google Classroom, and you open up for the particular day and it's going to tell you what the lesson is. So today's lesson is more ways to solve for x-intercepts. So after the Zoom session later in the afternoon, when you're doing all your other work, you're spending that 45 minutes on algebra, you're going to open up this, and then you can click on this to YouTube to see what the lesson is, and you can start watching it right away. But I would recommend trying the classwork out first before you watch the video lesson. Oops, and here we go. Okay, so, and then it'll also tell you what the homework is. And classwork and homework are both uploaded to Google Classroom. So you can just click on it. You'll see that the classwork's right here, and you're welcome to print this out. If you do have a printer, it might be a little bit easier, but if you don't have a printer, you're just solving this, you're rewriting this in standard form, for instance, using the zero product property, getting some x-intercept, making a sketch of a parabola. You're just doing that on a separate piece of paper, okay? Make sure you write the title of the assignment, name of the assignment at the top, and then label each problem number so that when you turn it in, because you remember you have to turn in one classwork in a week, I know which assignment it is, okay? So you're just doing this on a separate piece of paper. Have on a separate side, a new side of paper for each assignment, so that's very clear what your assignment is. Later, when you go back to see what did I do, you can find that assignment because it's on its own side of paper, okay? So you're going through all these problems. This is Monday's classwork, so this one isn't too long, just a two-sider right here. And then your homework for the day is here. And that is homework number 37. So again, you're welcome to do this on a separate sheet of paper. And we will review this homework on Wednesday for first block on Wednesday at 9 a.m. And we'll review this homework on Tuesday at 9 a.m. for fifth block, because that'll be the next time I see you guys after Monday's assignment. Okay, so that's Monday, and then everything else is just down below. You can check it. You can also check out here your classwork and homework schedule. That's another thing that's on Google Classroom. So the second one down is classwork and homework schedule. You click on it, and it says the schedule for the rest of the year. So here we have it as a Google Sheet right here. So you're welcome to keep checking this link as we go, and it tells you what all the assignments are. So here we are in week 1 of distance learning, and we're still in chapter 8, quadratic functions, and it shows you what the 3 assignments are. 1, 2, 3. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we have the dates here, 4/13, 4/15, and 4/17 for our first 3 assignments. This Tuesdays and Thursdays are the enrichment tasks. So there might be Khan Academy, might be Kahoots, Ed Puzzles, Desmos quizzes, Nearpod lessons. The list goes on. Might be give you a Google Forms quiz. Again, the one tomorrow on Tuesday, what I'm going to tell you to do is just to fill out the Google survey about your study group. Okay, just filling out who you've decided to work with, and I'll work my best to make that happen. And that's it about Google Classroom. Oh, there's also a online textbook too. So I know all the classwork and homework worksheets are all uploaded for you here too. But another person, one of the roles, this could be good for one of the class roles, is to maybe, if you just click on this link that I have right here, if you click on it, it's going to take you directly to the textbook that we use for this course. So you no longer have to log in. One of the things they've done with the whole COVID-19 outbreak is that if you click on the textbook or if you go directly to this link, then you don't have to log in. It'll take you directly to stuff. So you could find that assignment by going to chapter 8 here on the left, scrolling down, and I believe we're on 8.2.3. So you can find the assignments here. And one of the nice things about this here is it does, if you do look at this online, when you get to this question on 880, for instance, you get a vocabulary word here. And all the vocabulary words are actually defined for you using the online textbook. So you could go directly on online textbook. If you're working through a problem, you're not sure about this, you forget about graphing form again, you can click on it and then it'll tell you a definition and kind of have it broken down for you. So I know it can be annoying when you had the textbook in the classroom. You didn't want to flip to the back and look things up using the glossary. It's still good to do that, right? Look things up in the glossary, but this is, you have the vocabulary directly on here. You also have homework help here too. This is a bunch of the homework problems that'll be on tonight's homework. So you can always click on the homework help, find the problem, click on the homework help button, and then it'll bring you to things where you can take hints and find answers. So it'll give you hints, right? So give you hints here. There we go, right? It tells you kind of what to do. Okay, so that is Google Classroom. Try to think, are there any questions? Is there anything I didn't cover that you're going to ask in a second? So I'll take those questions a little bit later. Last thing is here, I thought about starting this video like this just to acknowledge just kind of how crazy of a situation we're in right now and kind of how heavy it is. I'm trying to do my best to kind of lift your spirits. That's kind of why I decided to start with, hey, what do you need to know? What do you need to do to be successful in Algebra 1? But I thought about starting this way, which might have been just like a little bit too heavy of a way to start this meeting. So I have written here, let's pause to acknowledge the time we're living in. It's crazy right now. None of us think that doing this distance learning is the best thing for you, is the best thing for us. But the reality is we have no choice. This is a pandemic that hasn't really existed the entire time I've been alive, or arguably the entire time my parents have been alive too. So we are undoubtedly doing the right thing by trying to take ourselves kind of out of society, taking a step back just for a month or two, hopefully. We're hopefully saving a whole bunch of lives and a lot of pain and suffering by doing that. So I know it's tough. But keep it up because it does make a difference, okay? And we want to push our numbers down. So I've been sharing some data all along with you guys, and I've tried to make that be like the data that I share with you the first day and showing you updates every few weeks just so you guys can get a sense of how things are changing, okay? Because again, we're going into more math stuff, and math stuff's great at all, but don't lose sight of the fact that this math stuff really matters, right? It matters a ton to the situation we find ourselves in right now, which is one of the most important situations to approach mankind in our entire lifetimes. And this fundamentally is somewhat of a math problem. How do we keep numbers down? How do we keep society functioning by not overwhelming our healthcare system? So here's one link actually that I saw shortly after I emailed you guys yesterday about the coronavirus data update. And I wish I'd actually included this link because I thought this video was pretty telling of showing you how things have really changed from back on January 22nd when we were just kind of a few weeks into second semester up until March 11th where we came back from our first COVID-19 break all the way up to now, how things have changed and how math, because we started noticing this exponential trend, how math could have helped us predict this situation we've gotten ourselves in and how we can kind of flatten this curve. So this is such a big moment. I always want you to take a step back and just think about what we find ourselves encountering here. And, I know it's tough. I know that mathematically, probably one of someone's family members, and out of all my students, probably someone's family member is probably sick right now. About 1 in 1,000 or so people in San Francisco have been tested positive for COVID-19. So about 800 or so positive cases in a city of about 800,000. So I know this is tough. You might have a family member who's sick. So please just be like, I'm not trying to make you feel worse about this, or it's just keep on reminding you of it all the time. But I think it is going to be something that you're going to be thinking about. It's going to be coming up in your lives for years and years and years, about people thinking about this time period and how we can improve society. I think a lot of you guys probably will go into medicine, go into public health because of this. I feel like those will probably be attractive job fields for you. So that's the reason why I show you a lot of this data. So here is this video that I saw yesterday. I thought was pretty interesting because it shows how things have changed across the world and just the rate of growth that's happened outside of China, really since January 22nd. It's from the BBC, so it's a pretty good, and Johns Hopkins, so it's kind of interesting data. Okay, so China, right? This is why we were talking about China all the time. Oop, we made a cruise trip there, the Diamond Princess. And then we started talking about South Korea. Might pause this in a second. So this was March 6th. This was when we first closed down. I believe March 5th was the first day that we closed down Lowell High School. At that point, US only had about 300 cases of coronavirus. That's why we're just like, okay, we have these days off. This isn't much of a threat. Well, it was growing exponentially already, as the data showed when I showed it to you on March 11th. March 11th, US had 1,600 cases. So I remember coming in and being like, let's look at this data. It's kind of strange that we're back here now. And then we were back in school for about 2 days. And this is what's happened since, just to put it in perspective of kind of the news you've been following and seeing it. Look at US go. And we are now, as of April 11th, over 500,000 people sick with COVID-19. Okay, the great thing for you guys is that it's really only 0.1, 0.2% mortality, so you don't really have to worry about it too much personally. But of course, we don't want to spread this to other more vulnerable populations. Okay, so that's the last thing there that I just wanted to say. Regardless of what's going on in the world, I'm just super glad to be back here with you and hopefully meeting with you more in person going forward, and hopefully allowing you to reconnect with your peers and your community as well. So email me anytime. If I'm missing any cool kind of COVID-19 data, I really just want you to keep an eye on this, being like, how is data telling this amazing story, amazingly powerful, amazingly terrifying, interesting story? Please email it to me. Here's my email address, and if there's anything better I can share with you, I'm willing to send that out on future updates for data stuff. Okay? Let's get back to it, and you guys are going to jump into reviewing homework number 37, homework number 36, or 37 next. 36 for block 1 and 37 for block 5.